Hello, my radiant Leo. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. What if the reason you clicked on this video wasn't luck, but alignment? What if these exact 6 numbers you're about to hear aren't just symbols of chance but keys already vibrating within your energy field? From June 21st to 25th, a powerful jackpot frequency is rising, and Leo, it's entering through you not because you're trying harder, but because your spirit has become quiet enough to hold what's already been promised. This message isn't about chasing. It's about confirming. There's a shift in the energy around you, and it's not loud. It doesn't need to be. It's subtle, steady, and intensely real. The universe doesn't always knock, sometimes, it whispers. And this week, it's whispering directly to you. These 6 cosmic numbers aren't here to push you. They're here to meet you. They're not showing up to test your readiness theory appearing because you already are. Your energy is no longer looking for direction. It's become the direction. And that, dear Leo, is what calls in true abundance. If your life has felt like it's quietly realigning, if you've been moving through decisions with more trust and less noise, if you've stepped away from proving yourself and stepped into simply being in exactly the right place. And no, that's not an accident. Take a moment, breathe it in. You're not watching this by chance. You've been called into this moment, because you've earned it with each mindful choice, each quiet release, each step toward your own rhythm. So before we dive into these 6 numbers from the universe, let me take just a moment to say something that truly comes from my soul. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Every like, every comment, every new subscriber is more than a matrice. It's a sign that this community, Eternal Mindfulness, is made up of souls like yours, awake, evolving, and deeply attuned to divine timing. Your presence helps this space grow. And in return, I promise to keep bringing you these gentle transmissions that speak not to the noise of the world, but to the calm within your heart. So Leo, if something inside you already knows this message is yours, I invite you to speak it out loud by typing this in the comments right now. I am in rhythm and the universe is responding. Let that be your first act of alignment today. Let that simple sentence anchor the energy that's already been set in motion. And trust me, my beloved Leo, you will want to stay with me until the very last second of this message. Because what the universe is about to reveal, it's not only rare, it's yours. Are you ready? Let's step into the frequency of jackpot energy, one sacred number at a time. And now, Leo, we enter the vibration of the first number 17. You may not realize it yet, but this number doesn't arrive by accident. It comes as a gentle confirmation that something deep within you has begun to shift. Number 17 carries the subtle but magnetic energy of Venus, the planet not just of love, but of value, refinement, and resonance. Its presence marks a moment when you no longer need to ask, "Am I worthy?" because you've stopped looking outside for the answer. In this phase of your life, attraction no longer feels like a performance. It becomes an echo. A quiet one, yes, but so much more powerful than the noise of effort. The more you release the need to prove your light, the more clearly others feel its warmth. That is the energy of 17. Not a flare, not a spotlight, but a sustained glow from within, rooted in self-respect and softness. When Venus speaks, she doesn't shout. She simply arrives, certain of her place. And so do you. On a physical level, this number invites you to move differently. Treat your body not as a project, but as a sanctuary. There's no need for extremes. No rigid routines. No punishing rules. Venus whispers through gentle rituals, a warm cup of tea in the morning, slow and steady stretches instead of rapid workouts, choosing silence over scrolling. Healing, in this space, comes not from doing more, but from doing less with deeper presence. Your energy field begins to recalibrate when your nervous system feels safe. And when you treat your breath like gold, your entire body starts to listen. Financially, number 17 signals a transformation in how you hold your relationship with abundance. You are no longer chasing wealth as a way to validate yourself. You are becoming the kind of environment where wealth feels welcome not because you begged for it, but because you've built a life it can trust. That's the secret. Money is energy, and energy stays where it's respected. When you stop using money to fill a void, it naturally starts flowing toward you not as a prize, but as a partner in alignment. There's a deeper layer to all this. A wisdom that doesn't need to be named, but is felt the moment you pause long enough to hear it. When you stop grasping, stop controlling, and instead choose to meet life as it is, something remarkable begins to unfold. You begin to attract not through force, but through clarity. Like a still pond drawing birds to its surface, your stillness becomes the very thing that draws in what's been circling you for a long time. And not just wealth but peace, connection, opportunity, joy. It was never about seeking. It was always about softening. The tarot card aligned with this number is the star, one of the most quiet and hopeful cards in the deck. It reminds you that your healing is not dramatic. It's radiant. That your hope is not naive. It's ancient. The star speaks not of a finish line, but of a horizon that rises as you do. It teaches that real light doesn't need to be constant to be trusted. Even a flicker, if held consistently, can guide you through the dark. So as you carry the number 17 in your field, let it be a symbol not of striving, but of returning. Returning to a space within you that knows exactly what you're worth without needing to explain it. Let your actions from here be rooted in softness, not survival. Let your days begin with the question, what feels nourishing right now? And let your energy speak before your words do. Because Leo, your magnetism was never in your roar. It's in your rhythm. And right now, your rhythm is beginning to match the music the universe has been playing for you all along. And now, Leo, we move into the frequency of number 26, a vibration shaped by the slow, grounded current of Saturn. If number 17 asked you to soften into your natural magnetism, number 26 invites you to anchor it. This number carries the quiet authority of structure, rhythm, and responsibility not as burden, but as the framework through which real freedom flows. It arrives not to limit you, but to hold you. Because sometimes the most liberating thing we can do is choose boundaries that protect the very energy we've been nurturing. Saturn is often misunderstood as the strict teacher of the cosmos, the one who brings hard lessons and delayed rewards. But if you look closer, you'll see that Saturn doesn't punish, it clarifies. It asks us, what are you willing to tend to, day after day, even when no one's watching? What systems in your life truly support your peace and which ones only imitate it? When number 26 enters your energetic field, it's not here to make things heavier. It's here to show you how to carry what already matters in a way that doesn't drain you. It's the gentle discipline of knowing when to say no. Of closing the screen when your body asks for rest. Of letting silence replace noise without needing to fill it with anything. These choices may seem small, but they are the foundation of resilience. And you, Leo, know how to build foundations when your fire is given direction. In terms of health, this is the moment to reevaluate what your nervous system has been tolerating. Sleep isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Rest is not avoidance, it's renewal. Creating a space where your evenings are no longer hijacked by overstimulation, where your breath can deepen without interruption, is a revolutionary act of care. When you choose restoration over performance, your body remembers how to heal. Financially, number 26 is the call to simplify. Not to contract out of fear, but to focus from clarity. Saturn doesn't require you to sacrifice joy, but it does ask that you know where your energy leaks. Are you spending to escape, or to invest in alignment? Are you adding more, hoping it brings stability, or are you ready to subtract what doesn't truly serve your long-term rhythm? Money is not just currency, it's a reflection of choices. And when your choices become more intentional, your resources begin to respond. This number holds a kind of freedom that isn't loud or dramatic. It's the kind that feels like breathing easier, like having room inside your schedule and inside your mind. You begin to see that freedom isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right things with devotion. It's the soft discipline of waking up a little earlier, not because you have to, but because you value your own stillness. It's the ease that arrives when you no longer run from commitment, but reshape it to match who you're becoming. The tarot card aligned with this number is the Hierophant. At first glance, he may appear rigid, guarded by tradition, speaking in symbols. But beneath that image is a deeper truth. Wisdom isn't always spontaneous. It's cultivated. It's learned through repetition, refined by intention, and grounded in practice. And your practice, Leo, is no longer about hustle. It's about choosing what's worth returning to each day, until peace becomes a pattern, not a reward. Let number 26 be a reminder that you don't need to tear things down to feel free. You can simply choose which pillars are worth keeping and which ones you're ready to let go. True freedom isn't the absence of form. It's the clarity of form that lets your energy breathe. And right now, the universe is offering you that clarity, not to control you, but to carry you into your next chapter with purpose, calm, and quiet strength. If number 26 helped you build structure, Leo, then number 10 arrives to help you release what no longer belongs within it. This number doesn't burst through with urgency, it rises gently, like your own inner sun returning after a long night. Number 10 carries the essence of your ruling planet, the sun itself, which means this moment isn't just a transition. It's a return to clarity, to light, to self-recognition. There's a quiet but steady rhythm that surrounds this numb era pulse of completion. Something within you has run its course, and while it may have shaped you, it's no longer what's needed to carry you forward. This isn't the kind of ending that demands grief or celebration. It's the type that asks for reverence. A bow of the head. A conscious pause. An internal thank you to the version of you that carried so much, sometimes in silence. Number 10 reminds you that all endings are thresholds, and that every release contains the seed of something far more aligned. You're not abandoning anything. You're simply acknowledging that the cycle has served its purpose. In your health, this is a time to look closely at the subtle habits that have stayed longer than they should. Perhaps it's the way you keep scrolling late at night, hoping to distract yourself from that lingering tension in your chest. Perhaps it's the inner voice that still believes rest must be earned. Perhaps it's the energy of a place or person you've outgrown, but haven't yet stepped away from fully. This number invites you to detox, not just through green juices or supplements, but by clearing the energetic clutter that weighs you down more than you realize. Detox here means discernment. It means choosing what nourishes and stepping away from what drains. And this detox isn't temporary, it's a declaration. You're choosing a frequency that supports life, not just productivity. Because when your body is aligned with that truth, healing becomes natural, not forced. And Leo, when you choose your own light, the whole system around you begins to respond. Financially, number 10 asks for transparency. Not from the world but from you to yourself. Have you been making money choices based on fear? Guilt? Emotional spikes? Or have you slowed down long enough to ask, does this reflect the future I truly want to build? The sun, as your guide, is not interested in pretense. It shines on what is clearly, fully. This is a time to examine your patterns honestly. Not to shame yourself, but to gain power through awareness. Clarity brings confidence. And confident choices with your resources become the fertile ground for long-term stability. There is also a deeper rhythm moving beneath all this. One that speaks not of achieving more, but of returning to your essence. In stillness teachings, there is a saying, when the mind no longer clings, wisdom begins to arise on its own. That is what this number invites. It's not asking you to build something new right away. It's asking you to clear the space with care, so that what's next can arrive naturally, without force. The real beginning doesn't happen at the moment you act, it happens in the moment you fully release. The tarot card the Sun reflects this perfectly. Its message is simple but profound: joy is not a goal. It's the natural state that emerges when resistance dissolves. You don't chase the sun. You step into it. You recognize that the shadows were never proof of failure, they were simply part of the rhythm. And now that rhythm is lifting, clearing, making room. So Leo, let this number guide you not to rush into the next chapter, but to honor the way this one closes. Gently. Honestly. In full light. Because what comes next is not a replacement. It's a rising. And this time, you'll walk into it without carrying what no longer belongs. As you move through the energy of number 10, having honored what has ended and made space for what's real, you now arrive at the steady pulse of number 22. This isn't a number of excitement or urgency, it's a number of grounding. A number that hums low and deep, like the rhythm of the earth beneath your feet. Where 10 closes a chapter with light, 22 builds what can last inside that clearing. It doesn't ask you to dream bigger, it asks you to hold your dreams with structure, with care, and with patience. Because not everything valuable appears with speed. Some things, especially the most meaningful, only arrive when there's a safe place for them to land. Number 22 vibrates with earth energy. It doesn't fly or float at roots. It reminds you that vision without system is like a tree without soil, beautiful for a moment, but unable to stand. This is where you begin building your container. Not as a cage, but as a vessel. What you're creating in this season of your life doesn't need chaos. It needs rhythm. And that rhythm doesn't come from the outside world, it begins within you, in the choices you repeat without fanfare. What time you wake up. What you reach for first. Whether you pause between tasks or collapse into them. These small, often overlooked moments are the bricks of your foundation. They don't need to be perfect. They need to be consistent. Your health is a mirror of that consistency. This isn't about discipline in the traditional sense, it's about devotion. When your body knows what to expect, it stops living in reaction and begins operating in flow. A stable bedtime is more powerful than any supplement. A slow morning, even if it's just 5 minutes of stillness, can shift your entire nervous system. Your body is always listening. And when you create systems that honor it, your energy stops leaking. That's the hidden medicine of number 22, the realization that what heals us isn't only what we do once in a while, but what we commit to daily, quietly, and with intention. Financially, this number speaks not to quick wins, but to sustained stewardship. You may be earning, but are you holding? Are you tracking? Are you building a system that can support more without collapsing under the weight of it? Abundance doesn't reward the loudest hunger, it follows the clearest container. A budget may not feel thrilling, but it's a form of self-respect. Monitoring your inflow and outflow isn't just responsible, it's empowering. It's how you stop chasing money and start inviting it to stay. With each small step, each recorded expense, each conscious investment, you shift from surviving to sustaining. You move from chasing to choosing. There's a lesson here that echoes deeply with those who've spent time contemplating impermanence and interdependence. The strongest forms don't resist change, they are built to hold it. A well-structured life isn't rigid. It adapts. It breathes. And when your systems are born from your values, not your fears, they begin to serve you instead of restricting you. That's the kind of structure number 22 offers, a form that frees you, not binds you. The tarot card aligned with this energy is the Four of Pentacles. It's often misunderstood as a symbol of clinging or control. But in its higher vibration, it represents discernment. It says, what you've built has value. Now how will you protect it? How will you nurture it without suffocating it? You don't need to grip everything tightly, but you do need to hold it with care. That's what number 22 is here to teach you. That systems, when aligned with your truth, aren't limitations. They're the very pathways through which abundance knows how to find you and stay. Following the grounded wisdom of number 22, which asked you to build systems that could hold what matters, you now step into the layered energy of numbers 35 and 44. Together, they form a powerful bridge, one between imagination and structure, between vision and reality. Number 35 carries the fluid, dreamlike frequency of Neptune, reminding you of the richness that comes not from strategy, but from stillness, subtlety, and inner clarity. In contrast, number 44 echoes with the grounded momentum of Jupiter, an energy of expansion, but not the kind that rushes forward without direction. This is growth rooted in truth. Progress that knows its pace. Together, these two numbers invite you to stop chasing the dream and begin cultivating the life where the dream can actually stay. With Neptune's vibration, the invitation is always to listen not to the noise outside, but to the quiet nudges within. These aren't the loud insights that arrive in crisis. they're the soft tugs that come when you exhale. When you sit in stillness long enough to feel the faint signals your body has been whispering all along. That tension behind the eyes. That fatigue in the chest. That craving not for more caffeine, but for less urgency. Healing under this influence doesn't look like a dramatic breakthrough, it looks like choosing water over stimulation, breath over reaction, silence over pressure. Your nervous system is learning how to feel safe in subtlety. And when you give it permission to stop performing, it begins to repair. At the same time, Jupiter's presence in number 44 reminds you that healing and hope are not in conflict. That you don't have to stay small in order to stay safe. But expansion that lasts must come from alignment, not ambition alone. You're not here to hustle toward a fantasy. You're here to tend to a reality that feels deeply your own. Financially, this might mean releasing the pressure to make it big fast, and instead building a model of sustainability. One where you earn in ways that don't drain you. Where your income reflects your integrity. Where your growth doesn't outpace your grounding. Number 35, when paired with 44, asks you to begin each day not with a to-do list, but with a moment of awareness. It might be as simple as asking, what would feel gentle and true today? From that question, your plans take a different shape. They're no longer driven by fear of falling behind, but by a quiet trust in your own rhythm. Number 44 adds that what you repeat with care becomes who you become. Not the big decision, but the small choice repeated. The breath you take before responding. The way you end your day on purpose, not by collapse. The space you make before saying yes. These aren't interruptions to your path, they are the path. The tarot symbols here are especially potent. The High Priestess is the embodiment of knowing without forcing. She doesn't ask. She feels. And the King of Pentacles? He doesn't chase success. He becomes the person whose success trusts to stay. Their union reflects a life where intuition and responsibility don't cancel each other out, they enhance each other. Where your dreams are not fragile, they are held by choices strong enough to support them. This pairing reminds you that the world doesn't need you to do more. It needs you to become more of who you already are beneath the noise. And when your external life begins to match your internal clarity, that's when expansion happens, not with fire, but with roots. Not with noise, but with depth. Not by chasing the dream, but by preparing the space for the dream to rest and finally belong. And so, Leo, if you've made it this far, take a moment to honor that. Not just the time you've given, but the energy, the openness, the willingness to listen not only to this message, but to yourself. Because what you've just moved through isn't just a list of lucky numbers. It's a deeper rhythm. A pattern your soul may have recognized before your mind could name it. And maybe that's the point. Not to chase clarity, but to let it find you when you're still enough to hold it. You've heard the numbers. You've felt their frequencies. Each one carried its own quiet wisdom, some inviting you to soften, others asking you to anchor. Some called for release, others for structure. And in all of them, there was one thread, the idea that transformation doesn't happen when you try harder, it happens when you live more honestly. And now, the question is gently passed to you: what will you carry forward? What rhythm will you protect? What system will you build, not to impress the world, but to support your real self? Perhaps it's time to ask yourself, Where in your life are you still rushing? Where are you gripping too tightly? What would happen if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment and simply chose to begin now, gently, from where you are? Could it be that the version of you you've been searching for isn't in some far-off breakthrough, but quietly rooted in today's smallest, most mindful act? You don't need to leap. You just need to lean in. Start with one breath in the morning that doesn't belong to your phone. One choice made not out of fear, but because it feels honest. One evening where you log off early and listen to the stillness behind your thoughts. These are not small things. These are foundations. And when you build them slowly, with love, you create the kind of life that dreams want to stay in, not just visit. So I invite you to ask yourself, right now, which number resonated most with you today? Which part of this message whispered something familiar? And how will you let that whisper become your new habit, your quiet practice, your lived truth? If anything within you stirred while watching this, if you felt seen, grounded, or simply more present, I would love for you to comment below and affirm it. I am in rhythm, the universe is responding. Let it be more than a sentence. Let it be your permission to stay aligned. And if this message brought you something meaningful, consider sharing it with someone who's been quietly laying the bricks of their own dream. Because sometimes the most powerful gift we can offer is simply a reminder that they're not alone. Before you go, I want to thank you truly for being here with me. Your presence, your attention, your energy helps keep this space, eternal mindfulness, alive and growing. Every like, every comment, every subscription not only supports this channel, it keeps the current flowing, so these messages can keep reaching those who need them most. And you, Leo, are a part of that. So if you haven't yet, please do hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what the universe might want to say to you next. This is not just a channel, it's a shared space for growth, rhythm, and quiet transformation. And remember, you're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where the next step begins. Just keep your rhythm. Let life meet you there.